In his recent podcast, American sprinter Justin Gatlin agrees with me as to why Kishane Thompson lost the men's 100 meters at the Paris Olympic Games, or more accurately, why he didn't win decisively. Welcome back to the channel, people. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for making it Peter Lloyd World. Go ahead, please hit the subscribe button so we continue to grow. Do that, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video drops. You drop a video at least once a day here in Peter Lloyd World. Also, if you enjoy the content, please hit the like button and finally leave your thoughts. So, ready? Yep. Good to go. Well, it will go down as one of the most controversial wins in the history of the Olympic Games in the men's 100 meters. The thousandth of seconds that separated the winner, Noah Lyles of the United States, from the gentleman who took a second, Jamaica's Kishane Thompson, in the men's 100 meters. Now, we put out a video some time ago explaining why we thought, the three primary reasons why we thought Kishane Thompson did not win this race decisively, which he should have and will, I'm really certain, in the future once the adjustments are made. And some of you thought that one of our theories in particular was a stretch. So it was good to hear Justin Gatlin, Olympic champion, world champion, in the same event, and who is, I've been listening to his podcast, people. I would tell you to go listen to his podcast. If you're serious about track and field, his podcast is really informative because he believes that what I said is accurate. Now, one of the theories I put forward is that by not allowing Kishane Thompson to run flat out, full throttle throughout his entire 2024 season, 100 meters. What this did is his nervous system and his body got wired to shutting down 80 meters into a 100-meter race. And human beings, we're creatures of habit. Our bodies do not like change, even positive change. So the fact that he was running at 60 to 80% throughout the entire season, I really believe this meant that on the night of the finals at the Paris Olympic Games in 100 meters, when he hit 70 meters and he told his body it was time to really go, his body said, "What are you talking about?" He shut down. His nervous system had been programmed to stop running 60 to 80 meters in. So listen to what Justin Gatlin had to say about my theory.
Kishane has yet to finish a full 100 meters from what we've seen this season. And I'm not saying this because I want to see him finish. It actually affects your central nervous system. If you're pushing your body to run full speed to 80 meters and then you shut it down and slow down to this finish line and you're constantly doing it, muscle memory takes into effect. Now your muscles are saying, we're going to go balls to the wall, 80 meters, we're going to shut it down. Now when you get into a shootout, when you get into a stride for stride to the finish line, that nervous system's not going to be kicking in for you. Now you're going to start bucking. Now you're going to start straining to get to that finish line. And I felt that's kind of what we saw in Kishane. And not saying that Kishane did a bad job. By no means at all. And I don't want anybody to go out there and try to disrespect Kishane like, oh, he choked, he did none of that at all. Where Noah was in the track, I really feel that Kishane did not see him.
And I agree completely with what Justin Gatlin said. Many of you watched my video on why I thought Kishane Thompson lost. And I really believe that that may be the single most important reason as to why he lost. Inexperience and the fact that his coach, meaning the great coach Stephen Francis and others, never allowed him to push to his max. One thing I have to say about Noah Lyles that I noticed, and several of the other greats, is that on every given day they run right through that line. Shelley and Fraser Price generally runs right through that line. Most top tier tend to run right through that line. I've even said in the past, and I thought it was a flaw in Noah Lyles, that he always runs flat out, as if his life depended on it. But in hindsight, I started to realize that this is good, because it's just like when many of you complain that Jamaican athletes, the men in particular, have a tendency of looking around when they're approaching the last 10 meters of 100 meters, which is crazy because, again, you're training your body to do this nonsense. you need to focus on the finishing line and get the hell through it. Now, I've also said this. Kishane Thompson is going to become one of the greatest male sprinters of all time. And I think everyone knows that he announced himself to the world. I believe everyone who has any brain, any sense in men's 100 meters must be terrified of this young man. Even Noah Lyles concedes that Kishane Thompson is the real deal.
Was this the toughest yet?
This was the toughest race I've ever had, besides probably Tokyo in the 200, but this was by far. That man got a lot of talent, and I'm excited to see how many races we got to go back to back in.
And to further emphasize the point that Justin Gatlin made and I made in a previous video, even Kishane Thompson's description of what happened to him during the 100 meters, it reflects exactly what myself and Justin Gatlin said. His body started to shut down 80 meters in. He started to slow. It was innate. He was wired to do this. So it means that they have to now work on the end of his race. He has to run all out, flat out. He has to now be trained to do this because Kishane Thompson, the flat out people, is sub 10. He's sub 9.7. No doubt in my mind. Had he been able to execute the race he wanted to, he would have ran something akin to a 9.68. I am 100% certain based on just the calculations. Listen to what he said about what happened to his body while he was doing that 100-meter final, meaning Kishane Thompson.
And I'm just going to build on it and just move forward.
When you say you should have been more patient with yourself, explain that for the viewers, the casual viewers who don't know what that means.
In terms of my execution, it felt as if I wasn't patient for the line. I did not trust myself. I didn't trust myself and my speed enough for it to bring me to the line at the right time, in the right position. I was rushing it. At one point, I felt myself tighten up a bit and started to decelerate, and my striding kind of cut. But as I said, I know some of my mistakes. I'm going to look back, go back to the drawing board, work on every aspect that I can, and just keep on bettering my best.
Now, this, of course, is my 2 cents. Love him or hate him, Justin Gatlin is a top-tier male sprinter, one of the best the world has ever seen. Regardless of what your personal thoughts are, the numbers don't lie. And I've been watching his podcast, and I'm telling you, this man is really knowledgeable about track and field. He really understands the mechanics of track and field. So I was really, really happy to hear someone else, because when I put out that video, many of you watched, and really love you guys for the support, kings and queens, loving it for the support. But many of you questioned this particular aspect of my theory, and basically you're saying that, nonsense, he should be able to just run. Now let me tell you something. There's something I tell my daughters from they were very young. And it was taught to me by my mom and my dad in particular. Growing up, my father used to tell me, when you get up in the morning, one of the first things you do after you give thanks and praises is you spread your bed. Now, as a youngster, as a child, I was like, what the heck is this? It's like punishment. Why do parents insist on spreading your bed? When I became a teenager, this is something I do now innately. As I get up, I spread my bed. It is the first thing I do after giving thanks and praises. I spread my bed. Anyone who knows me will tell you that. I hate mess. It drives me crazy. And when I got to my teens, mid-teens, 14, 15, I asked my father one day, when he was still here, God rest his soul, love my father, miss you, daddy. I said to him, why did you insist that I spread my bed? And he said, human beings are creatures of habit. We just don't realize the habits that we create, and we have to consciously create habits. So if you create the habit of getting up every morning and completing the first task of the day, that first task being you spread your bed, you actually spread it, this is something you complete. It prepares you psychologically to complete the other tasks you set for yourself. This is something you teach a child all the way into adulthood. It becomes programmed into you. So you simply do this thing because you are programmed to do this. Now, there's something that we see many athletes. I don't remember seeing other athletes overseas doing it. Maybe once in a while I've seen them when they're in a state of panic. Like when Noah Lyles was being beaten by by Oblique Seville at the National Stadium. Lyles was panicking, looking over at him. And Lyles admitted later on that he started to run Oblique's race. Here's the thing. We have to train our athletes to stop this nonsense about rookie. When Boaj Nkrumah, incredible talent, ran that 9.99, had he not been looking around in the last 15 meters, he would have ran something closer to a 9.96. I'm telling you. And we see our male athletes do this nonsense all the time. Wanna stop, do it. Tap, do it. The coaches, and look, I'm just some fan on YouTube. I'm just an actor, singer, songwriter, producer. I'm not an athlete. But I think I have some degree of basic reasoning. If you train yourself to run 60 to 70 meters, shut down, and look all around you, when you really need to do this, your body's going to do what it always does. Look, people, I get up and I work out. I don't always feel like working out, but I do it. It's become the norm. Anything that we want to do, it's about discipline and consistency. Discipline, consistency. Had Kishane Thompson been told, run through the line, run through the line, run through the line, every once in a while just do. I'm not saying every race, balls to the wall. I'm simply saying, had he been given 2 opportunities to just run hard, so his body would get used to the idea of, okay, this is what it feels like when we don't shut down at 80. He would have won that race. And in fact, he would have won it decisively. I'm going to keep saying this. Big respect to Noah Lyles, but he in terms of just raw speed, he's no match for this young man. He's not. However, if we train the young man to stop running at 70 and 80 and be looking all over the place. So for the coaches who may come here and listen, this is just my foolish advice. Please train our male athletes to stop doing this nonsense about slowing down at the line. Run through the line. 1, 2. Stop looking around at everyone. Okay? Maybe you want to glance at the clock. I get that. But you don't need to look around at everyone. You're training yourself to have bad habits. You heard what Kishane said? He said he should have trusted himself and trusted his own speed. But how could he? He didn't even know what it felt like to run flat out for a whole 100 meters. His body was confused. His body was saying, what are we doing? Aren't we shutting down? It's been 80 meters. And that's why he said he started to lose speed and momentum. After we have moved on from the hurt feelings, the egos being bruised, Jamaica being beaten by America in the 100 meters when we clearly should have won. For me, I tell my daughters this. I tell any youngster around me, failure is an opportunity to learn. Here is what Jamaica needs to learn, what Kishane needs to learn, what MVP needs to learn. Run. At least 2 races out of the year, flat out. Let's see what you have. All out. Let the athlete learn. This is what it feels like to go 100%. At least once. 2. Listen to me. Stop looking around. Every time you do that, you lose momentum, you lose concentration, and you cut your own speed. But this, of course, is my 2 cents, and I guess the 2 cents of Justin Gatlin. Now, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, the like button. Remember, you're royals, kings and queens. Bless us.